We look at an alternative spring break and the rise of esports.
Kateri Zuni describes the increase in baby boomers taking care of their grandchildren.
And the Cimarron Rams baseball team is breaking the gender line. I'm Allison Romero.
And I'm Ricky Garcia. This and more coming up on UNM News.
In 2005, Hurricane Katrina was the costliest natural disaster in U.S. history, and the city is still recovering from it. Over spring break, a new course took 12 UNM students there to work on projects in the areas Katrina ravaged. Group leader Anna Trio described it as a service learning experience.
Just being able to see the students and how they even grow in that short week, from starting off very shy maybe with a group to expanding, or, whenever you see them interact with some of the locals in New Orleans and start asking questions, and realizing what's going on and what happened with Katrina, I think that's really rewarding.
Trio wants that sense of involvement to continue, even after the intensive week of helping strangers get back on their feet.
I feel like we're very privileged here in the United States, and sometimes to see the struggles of other people in different places makes you realize that even back home, you have things you can work on. So I think it kind of gives you that refresher to come back home and, get more involved in community service.
This year's all-inclusive trip cost students $600, but the experience of helping others may be priceless.
The number of grandparents raising their grandchildren has increased significantly, with many baby boomer generation grandparents taking on the care of their millennial grandchildren. Kateri Zuni reports.
It's like I'm in the baby boomer group or age era, I guess, and I'm taking care of my grandchildren and I'm taking care of my elderly mother. So I think across America there's a lot of people in that same situation.
New Mexico resident Veronica Zuni is a baby boomer. She's the mother of this reporter, and at 64, she's ready to retire. But she says she has spent the last few years raising her son's children.
I have 2 grandchildren living with me, a grandson and a granddaughter. The grandson came to live with me in 2008, and he's with me still. Same way with the granddaughter. She came to live with me in 2013, and they're both still with me.
Although she says her children have stable incomes, Zuni believes that many like her end up raising their grandchildren because of the financial strain they pose.
Economics has a lot to do with the way things are. The parents of my grandchildren are also struggling. There's just a lot of situations where they just aren't able to take care of their children like they should or they want.
But while there's an added financial burden for her, Zuni does not resent the extra work.
It's not like I put my life on hold or anything. I guess that's my destiny, taking care of children, or not just children, taking care of people that I love.
This is Kateri Zuni.
We are joined by Kateri Zuni, who did that report on the baby boomer generation parenting their grandchildren. Thanks for being here, Kateri.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us a little bit about how your mom handles this situation.
Well, my mom has been raising kids for the past 40 years, so I think she adapted quite well to taking on another set of children. She kind of deals with it on a day-to-day basis. And luckily, she has a good, solid foundation to be able to do that.
Now, I understand she was ready to retire. Is she still planning on doing that? And if so, how does she handle that?
She was coming into her retirement years. I think having my niece and nephew with her definitely made her think twice about that. So she's put it off a little bit, but it's still, in the near future for her.
And do you think that this is more common in New Mexico, or?
I would say it's more common in New Mexico. It's definitely just part of our culture to see young children raised by grandchildren, even aunts and uncles. That's not necessarily a bad thing. You definitely see it in the indigenous communities as well, so it's pretty natural.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Competition, or the innate instinct to challenge the wits of a rival, has taken many forms. Today's electronic sports, or esports, are a growing form of competition that's competing for worldwide recognition. Kevin Maestas reports on the frontier of this electronic-based competition.
Rachel Gibson is a graduate student in petroleum engineering at New Mexico Tech in Socorro, New Mexico. In an attempt to occasionally liberate himself from his studies, he keeps his mind limber by competing in collectible card games. Today, his poison is the popular Hearthstone.
Hearthstone is basically a card game that is played on the internet. It's like a virtual card game. It's very similar to Magic the Gathering, which is kind of where I started with card games. And so when I heard that Blizzard was going to come out with this card game Hearthstone, it's kind of when I was just like, my dreams have come true.
Collectible card games no longer fill up shoeboxes or card binders, competing for shelf space in closets around the world. They now reside in hard drives as digestible and intuitive apps downloaded at no cost.
And then tournament play is a lot different because there's several different ways you can play Hearthstone. You can play it casually, and then there's another way you can play, which most people call ladder.
Gibson has competed for Tabletop Glory and local competitions hosted around Albuquerque for years. He says the health of any competitive gaming scene revolves around the curiosity and ambition of its competitors, and their ability to draw in newcomers with new strategies.
So what's cool about Hearthstone is it's all free, and the more you play, the more cards you can unlock, and the better you are, the faster you can unlock them.
Gibson says platforms such as Twitch.tv, a website dedicated to video game-centric broadcasting, enables gamers to experience a culture of competition.
I love the aspect of the way that tournaments are fed now on Twitch. They're so easy to access, and you can see pros playing all the time. And it gives a lot of recognition to the people that are really good too, which is like kind of unheard of in Magic the Gathering, because like you can't really stream Magic the Gathering card game, you know. It's just really cool to see people go on to this new style of broadcasting live tournaments of like card games that just wasn't possible before.
As game competition grows, video game culture has advanced into a broadcast culture, in which gamers like to watch gaming gurus compete on stages fit for gladiators while also chasing the same leaderboards. This is Kevin Maestas, reporting.
Spring is in the air, and so is the excitement of high school baseball. Catherine Farmer reports that the small-town Cimarron Rams are dusting off their bats and gloves and gearing up for the 2016 season.
The Cimarron Rams opened its season in freezing temperatures against Tierra Encantana of Santa Fe.
It was 9-3, went all 7 innings. Really feel comfortable with all our players on there. Pitchers did a very good job.
This is Alex Martinez's first year acting as head coach, but that's not the only new addition to the team. The small village of Cimarron does not have enough players to make a baseball team itself. So the Rams field a co-ed team made up of students from Maxwell High School and the Moreno Valley Charter School of Angel Fire.
Play hard, everybody in every position, win as many games as we can as a team.
There's still a lot of work to do. The team is going to have to play tougher if it wants to make it to the championships.
Be more aggressive, less errors.
The coach and team are looking forward to the rest of the season and hoping for a chance at the 1A state title. This is Catherine Farmer reporting.
We're joined by Catherine Farmer, who produced the report on the co-ed Rams. Hi, Catherine. How are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
Doing well. Tell me about this team.
Well, Cimarron High School is a really small school. There's only 70 kids through 9th through 12th grade. And so they've always had to combine with 8th graders or the charter school and Angel Fire to make their teams. But baseball has even fewer kids. Track season is the same time as baseball season, so there aren't as many boys to make a whole team. So this year they've had to combine with Maxwell, which is out of our district, and they've also had to add girls to the team, so it's now co-ed.
So was there any rivalry between all of these students?
Yes, back in Little League, they played against each other because they were in different districts, but now at the high school level, they have to play together to make a team.
And who is going to be coaching this co-ed team?
This is Alex Martinez's first year as head coach. He was assistant back when it was just an all-boys team.
Well, thank you very much for being here, Catherine.
Thank you.
There's a lot going on this spring, from trips to rebuild areas affected by Katrina to esports and co-ed baseball.
Exactly. For Ricky Garcia and me, Allison Romero, thanks for joining us. All right.